It's Thursday, March the 30th, 2017, and this is your Barbados Today evening update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news at this hour, the court injunction against the sale of the state-owned Barbados National Terminal Company Limited to energy giant Sol has been extended. When the parties appeared before Justice Olson Allen in the number 11 High Court this morning, attorneys for the defendants requested and were granted more time to prepare their responses, having only been served with the court documents last Friday. Now, Sol's competitor Rubis West Indies Limited, who brought the legal action, will now return to court on May the 26th, when hearing is expected to start. Last Friday, Rubis, through its attorney Leslie Haynes QC, lodged an application for a judicial review challenging the inclusion of a 15-year moratorium clause in the sale document, which prohibits the construction of another oil terminal in Barbados, as well as the granting of licenses for the storage of fuel, aviation fuel, and jet fuel for commercial and industrial purposes. Leslie Haynes QC is leading the Rubis legal team. Barry Gale QC heads the team for Sol, Roger Ford QC for the oil company, and Deputy Solicitor General Donna Brathwaite for the Attorney General. The public and private sectors in Barbados stand to benefit significantly from groundbreaking technologies being made available by Israel. President of the Caribbean Israel Leadership Coalition, Andre Thomas, told the news conference this morning that government has already embraced the initiative. Thomas said a two-day conference for the region will be held in Barbados in June, which would expose technology companies with the aim of securing business partnerships.
Now, groundbreaking technologies and technology companies are going to be coming in the areas of agriculture, cybersecurity, water scarcity, food, waste disposal, health and beauty, and medical. These areas and others, including rapid construction, will be coming down, and to form business-to-business partnerships and business-to-state partnerships.
The New Testament Church of God has allocated more than $350,000 to the care of the elderly during the past 5 years. Speaking at the media launch of the church's 100th anniversary of celebrations this morning, member of the National Executive Council, the Reverend Winston Carter, said that part of that money also went to social care, financial distress, and repairs to homes.
The financial care within those 5 years have been coupled with approximately 7,500 hours of community outreach dispersed in homework programs, free lessons for common entrance and CSEC candidates, partial grants for tertiary students, marriage and life counseling, skill development classes, floor arrangement, baking, garment construction.
The celebrations will begin on Saturday, April the 8th, with a baptism service at the Browns Beach, followed by a march through the city and climaxing with a gospel concert. In sports, West Indies lost their second of 4 T20 internationals against Pakistan at the Queen's Park Oval in Trinidad today. Set 132 to win, the Caribbean side fell short by 3 runs in their allotted 20 overs. This means the West Indies will now have to win the remaining 2 games if they are to avoid losing the series.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
God, these papers ain't selling at all. Get your paper. Only $2.25, get your paper, miss. Look, take it, I can pay for it. Barbados Today, all the way.
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region. As cross-examination continued in the Guyana Ministry of Public Service multi-million-dollar fraud case, the evidence suggests that close to a dozen checks had been approved by a former permanent secretary. Javon Vickery reports.
Ministry of the Presidency accountant Alwyn Williams took the stand on Wednesday to continue cross-examination by the defense in the trial involving former Minister of Public Service Jennifer Westford and the ministry's former personnel officers Margaret Cummins. Williams during the examination told the defense, led by attorney Neil Boston, that the memorandums and checks and other financial documents were approved for several activities including an award ceremony. He further noted that all 10 of the financial documents were approved by former permanent secretary of the Ministry of the Presidency, Omar Sharif. This, he explained, was lawful and mandatory. Williams further explained that his role at the time was to check the authenticity of checks, valued at an average of $25 million and signed thereafter. The evidence also revealed that the funds, which were placed in sealed envelopes, approved for several projects in the 10 administrative regions, were collected by Cummings, the then personnel officer at the ministry.
On the international scene, the vice chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Mark Warner, told a hearing today that Russia tried to hijack the U.S. democratic process. Warner was addressing the Senate hearing that's investigating alleged interference in the U.S. election.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin ordered a deliberate campaign carefully constructed to undermine our election. First, Russia struck at our political institutions by electronically breaking into the headquarters of one of our political parties and stealing vast amounts of information. Russian operatives also hacked emails to steal personal messages and other information from individuals ranging from Clinton campaign manager John Podesta to former Secretary of State Colin Powell. This stolen information was then weaponized. We know that Russian intelligence used the quote-unquote Guccifer II persona and others like WikiLeaks and seemingly choreographed times that would cause maximum damage to one candidate. They did this with an unprecedented level of sophistication about American presidential politics that should be a line of inquiry for us on this committee. And candidly, while it helped one candidate this time, they are not favoring one party over another, and consequently should be a concern for all of us.
Meanwhile, Russian interference with American politics did not stop after the election, and prominent Republicans, including House Speaker Paul Ryan and Senator Marco Rubio, have been targeted by coordinated social media attacks. That's what cybersecurity experts told the Senate panel today. Rubio, a former primary opponent of President Donald Trump, announced at the Senate Intelligence Committee hearing that during last year's election, his former campaign staff was targeted by hackers twice.
I do think it is appropriate, however, to divulge to the committee, since a lot of this has taken a partisan tone and not in the committee, but in the broader perspective, the following facts. In July of 2016, shortly after I announced that I would seek re-election to the United States Senate, former members of my presidential campaign team who had access to the internal information of my presidential campaign were targeted by IP addresses with an unknown location within Russia. That effort was unsuccessful. I'd also informed the committee that within the last 24 hours, at 10:45 a.m. yesterday, a second attempt was made, again, against former members of my presidential campaign team who had access to our internal information, again targeted from an IP address from an unknown location in Russia, and that effort was also unsuccessful.
And that's news and sports, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, our screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 99 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic evening.